Good morning, everyone. How's everybody? I'm David Adams on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I was going to say it's easy being green. Isn't that what Kermit the Frog used to say? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the heat is back on in here. Yay! And once again, we need to thank Carissa Mohr, who, for being here one weekday morning with the gas company people for, I don't know, several hours to help make that happen. All right, just a few mark your calendar items before we move on with our service. So there will be a class for new members on Sunday, March 24th, so that's a week from today, after the service. And that's a class for new UUs and people who'd like to learn more about Unitarian Universalism. So watch for that next week. If you would like to be involved in the wider UU world, the UU Pacific Southwest District Assembly, they don't call it that anymore, do they? They call it the service area or something? Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's an annual gathering of people from, what's California, Oregon, Arizona, Nevada? Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be held this year at the UU Church in Ventura, and that's April 26th through the 28th. There's more information about that on the Thursday Connections email if you want to follow up on that. Another mark your calendar item for May, we will be having our annual spring congregational meeting on Sunday, May 19th. I know you're all eagerly anticipating that, so mark it down on your calendar. All right. Lastly, aside from being St. Paddy's Day, today marks the beginning of our annual spring pledge drive. We will have a delightful potluck after the service, but here to tell us more about the pledge drive is our own treasurer, Carissa Mohr.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I feel like Elton John in these. I don't know, did they do anything for me? Okay, so as David said, welcome to the 2024 Pledge Drive Kickoff. Yay! So before we get into the fun stuff, just a quick reminder of why we pledge. Next slide, Jarius. So where our money goes, maintenance. We've all heard about the gas lines, we've all heard about the roof. We all know. Utilities, basic, keep the lights on. General and administrative expenses, the UUA annual program fund, worship and music, because let's face it, Lily does not come free. RE, our committees, to put on lovely events for you, our staff, who keeps everything running behind the scenes, and of course, our minister. Next slide, please. So where our money comes from is mainly pledges. We do get some from Montessori, we get some from the tower rent, we get some from event rentals and the Sunday plate. We get a little bit from the UU endowment interest, because, you know, we did have to take out half of that to pay for the fire alarm this year. So we're not going to get as much from that this year. But pledges, that's where the money comes from. That means it comes from you. I'm afraid I'm going to knock this computer over. Next slide, please. All right, so our theme this year is making connections and building community. So our dates to remember. Starts today, goes till the 28th. So you have until the 28th to get your pledge card in so that we can count it for the budget. Very important, because we need to know how much money we can spend next year. And we have many, many fun activities planned. First of all, the potluck today. Next up, we have a lovely Easter basket that has been put together by our own Kay Perlman. that we will be raffling off after service next week for everyone who has their pledge card in by that time. So, and we have other things planned as we work to fill our communal pot. As you turn in your pledge cards, which are currently being handed out by David, Terry, and Debbie, you will be receiving 2 pages. This blue one, nice little letter, basically thanking you for your pledge. And then this lovely green form, just like last year, which is the card you need to fill out and turn back into me. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, there are only 2 people in this building who are allowed to know what you pledge. That is me as the treasurer, and that is Tracy, our bookkeeper. And we personally do not care the exact number. We only care in order to be able to do the math. That's it. So yeah. And then, okay, these glasses keep falling off my face. So yeah, fill those out. If you don't want to fill it out today, you can bring it next week, and we will still count you towards the raffle for this lovely Easter basket. And next slide, please. Let's remember why it's important for you all to pledge. It does keep your membership current, which allows you to vote. And we do have an election coming up in May. So get that in, and you're good to go. Your pledge supports the congregation. There are many reasons, many ways that we spend the money we collect in order to keep things going here, to hold events, to support people in our community who are not maybe down on their luck. You know, there's many ways that we use this money. The pledge also allows us to make connections and build our community. When we can throw events that we can open up to the wider community, then we can bring more people in. Next slide, please. So, where can you get a pledge card? For those of you in the sanctuary, you should have one in your hands. If you're not here and are not going to be here for a while, we can send you one in the mail. Or we can send you can get one online. Online has both the fillable form, which I'm told will be ready tomorrow, and the printable form, which is basically this, that you will print out and fill out yourself. Next slide. Okay, so this is a picture of our website. For those of you in the sanctuary, if you go to stewardship down here at the bottom of the list. Next slide, please. The second option under stewardship, it's a little hard to see here. It says, make your financial pledge to MVUUC, donate here. So when you click there, then it will, if you scroll up on that a little bit, Jarius, please. There you go. Okay. So where it says make your pledge today, underneath there's 2 links. The top link will take you to the online form, and then the bottom link will take you to the form you can print out and fill in. All right, next slide. So, on that note, I am going to turn things over to Paula Campbell to tell us why she pledges. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us today, and a special hearty welcome to all of our friends joining us on Zoom as well. I'm Paula Campbell, a member of the MVUUC for over 20 years, and a UU for 25 years before that. It goes all the way back to Ellen and I in Illinois, actually. And I'm here to talk to you about why I pledged to MVUUCC and why it deserves your generous support for the annual pledge drive, which starts today, in case you hadn't heard. As you may know, MVUUC is a welcoming, diverse, and inclusive community of faith that strives to promote justice and compassion and love in the world. It is a place where people of different backgrounds, beliefs, and identities can come together to worship, learn, serve, and grow. It is a place where you can find a spiritual home, a caring community, a meaningful purpose, and connect with like-minded or challenging ideas and presenters. But this church is not just a place, it's also a movement that seeks to transform ourselves and our society, to uphold the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to respect the interdependent web of all existence, and to create a more peaceful, just, and sustainable world for all of us. That is why I'm here today, to ask you to join me in supporting this movement, this community, this church, with your generous donations. Because without your help, this church cannot continue to do the amazing work that it does, both within and beyond these walls. So what does MVUUC do exactly? The answer is, well, a lot. A lot of wonderful, inspiring, and impactful things. Let me give you just a couple examples. This community offers a rich and diverse program of worship services, religious education, music, and arts that nourish the mind, the body, and the spirit of our members and visitors. Whether you are looking for a traditional or contemporary service, contemplative or lively music, thank you, Lily, a deep or playful learning, you can find it here. This community also provides a variety of opportunities for fellowship, socializing, and fun. Whether you're looking for a small group like Taco Tuesday, a pot of gold potluck like we're having today, a movie night, a book group, or a game night, you can find it here. This community also engages in a number of social justice and communal service activities that make a positive difference in the lives of others and in the world. Whether you're looking to support the homeless, the hungry, LGBTQ+, inclusive efforts, the oppressed, anti-racism, animal rights, the environment, like our Green Sanctuary Project, or any other worthy cause, you can find it here. These are just some of the examples of what MVUUC does. There are many more, and they are all possible because of the generosity, dedication, and passion of our members, friends, and supporters, people like you and me. But this church also faces many challenges and needs that require your support. Let me tell you just a couple of them. Our church needs to maintain and improve its facilities, equipment, and technology to ensure that it can provide a safe, comfortable, and accessible space for its programs and activities. This includes repairing and upgrading our roof, plumbing, heating, cooling, lighting, sound, the internet systems, as well as enhancing handicap accessibility, security, and aesthetics. I like the new purple flowers, by the way. Our church needs to increase and diversify our income, outreach, and membership to ensure that we can grow and thrive as a vibrant and relevant community of faith. This includes developing and implementing effective and innovative strategies for fundraising, marketing, and welcoming, as well as cultivating and nurturing new and existing relationships. These are just some of the challenges that we face. There are many more, and some are urgent and important, and they are all dependent on your support. So how can you support MVUUC? Well, the answer is in many ways that are meaningful, rewarding, and satisfying. You can support our church by making a financial contribution to its annual pledge drive. No matter how big or small, Every dollar counts, and it makes a difference. Last year, I increased my pledge by 15%, and I will do so again this year. I set up the automatic payment through my bank, and so that I don't have to remember each month. If you are able, won't you please join me? You can make a one-time recurring donation by cash, check, or credit card, or online, as you saw. You can also make a pledge, a bequest, or a gift in kind, like Mom donated the piano cover when the rains were threatening our roof. You can also designate MVUUC as a beneficiary of your will, trust, insurance, or retirement plans. Sometimes I think we don't talk enough about those opportunities. You can support our community by volunteering your time, skills, and talents to our various programs and activities. No matter how much or how little, every hour we connect with others counts and makes a difference. You can make connections as a worship leader, a religious educator, a musician, an artist, or social justice advocate, and a community service worker, or any other role that suits your interests and abilities. You can support MVUUC by inviting your friends, family, and neighbors to our events and services. No matter how many or few, every person counts and makes a difference. You can invite them to worship service, a religious education class, a music or arts performance, a social justice or community service project, or any other event that connects us to the Unitarian Universalist mission and vision. These are just some of the ways that you can support our community. There are many more. They're all easy and enjoyable, and they are all appreciated and valued. I hope you share my commitment to MVUUC, this community, this church, with your donations, your service, and your connections. I hope I have encouraged you to be part of this amazing work that we are doing together and to make ourselves and the world a better place for everyone. That is our first principle. Thank you for your attention and generosity, and thank you for being part of Monte Vista Community Church.
I'm going to kick off the kickoff and turn in my pledge card right now.
Oh, the first pledge!
Increase.
Yay! Thank you, Mark.
Here we go.
I don't want this. Can we share with the membership what they should do with their pledge cards when they're filled out? Paula, where should they put these today?
Give them to me,
Okay, here you go, treasurer.
because I'm technically the only one in here right now allowed to see them.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks, everybody. I know you guys have been working really hard to get this pledge drive started, so thank you for all you've done, and here we go. Here we go. First of all, I'd like to, the congregation to join me in thanking Karen Lane for being our worship associate last week. It was her first time in the pulpit, and I think she did a beautiful job. Thank you, Karen. Thanks so much. And also, I got an email from Laura Mulroy just the other day letting me know that the scammers and the copycats are trying to clone me again. While that's not really a compliment, please don't reply to any emails that you think look suspicious to you. Please check where that email comes from. The one that Laura received came from pastorinfo733 at Gmail. Now, you might think that's me, and it's maybe a new email address I created. Please check with me, and don't ever click on any of those links that are sent to you, okay? All right. Are you exhausted now with all this info? Let's begin our worship together. We ring the bell 3 times. We honor yesterday, we celebrate today, and we await tomorrow. For our ancestors, our founding members, and for the Tongva and other indigenous peoples whose matrilineal societies care deeply for this land that we now share and that we both name as home. We welcome all of those gathered here and those joining us online. We honor our staff, our visitors, our friends and sustaining members, our partnership congregation in the Philippines, and especially for the month of March, all the women in the world, and for all beings who walk with us on this spiritual journey that we share. And we ring it as we await tomorrow. We ring it for all who are in need of the faith community that we create and will come walk beside us on this incredible path that is ever unfolding. We have an opening song. It's very Celtic. It's one of my favorites. It's number 298 in the hymnal, Wake Now My Senses. There are 5 verses. We'll sing them all. Please stand. Our treasurer. I've got your little torch on charge here. You should be good. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry. We light this chalice and open this gathering into a circle of creation and connection, reminded that we are each precious to its forming, and that our best outcome is found in our interactions with one another, bringing, offering, and receiving our ordinary and extraordinary gifts. We call out of each other a compassion, a strength, a wisdom. We are welcomed here with wonder, with belonging, and with appreciation. Blessed be. I invite you to stand with me as we sing our anthem, Spirit of Life, and it will be followed by a reading of our congregational covenant.
Rise in the sea, move in the
The words to our covenant are printed in your order of service, but we will also have them on the screen as we say together that we affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. A search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian, Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. We have a treat for you today. Robert, if you want to come up, we'll have the story, the wisdom tale in just a minute. But first, thank you, Maggie, for being here today and offering this beautiful special music with Lily.
Good morning, everybody. So I have two things to share with you today. Before I read our story, I received in the mail a Christmas card, and I was like, that's kind of weird to get a Christmas card in March. But I wanted to share with you guys. It says, "My name is Gabriella, mother of 5 children. The past few years, I have been facing financial difficulties and am unable to provide Christmas for my children. This past Friday, I found out that I have cancer. This is a blessing. Your support will bring happiness to my children, and thank you so much. Blessings to all." And this was our family that we gave donations to past Christmas through our Adopt a Family program that we do with the center here in Pomona. So I wanted to share that with you guys. They really appreciate the gifts. There's a photo with the mother with all of the gifts that we donated. So I'll have that back in the on the RE table. And then today our story is called Peace Begins With You, and it is by Katherine Scholes and illustrated by Robert Ingpen. So that's the cover. When I opened this book up, I saw that it was donated to the Monte Vista Library by Ellen Livingston. So thank you, Ellen. Peace can feel warm, bright, and strong, or calm, cool, and gentle. It can be found in a place that is busy and loud, and be missing in the calmest, quietest place on earth. Peace means different things to different people, in different places at different times in their lives. So, what is peace? Where does it come from? How can you find it? And how can you keep it? There are some things you need to stay alive: food, water, a place to live, clothes to keep warm, or help when you are ill or injured. Peace is having the things that you need. Then there are things that you want to help make life good. Small things like a cup of hot chocolate on a winter evening, or a walk along an empty beach, or a special place to be alone with your friends. And big things like not being afraid, like having the chance to study and learn, like knowing you are loved by your family and friends. Peace is being able to have or to hope for and work for at least some of the things that you want. Everybody is different. They want and need different things in different places at different times in their lives. Peace is being allowed to be different and letting others be different from you. Because people are different, their needs or wants don't always fit easily together in the same place at the same time. And even when people who are not very different, there can be problems. They may want to have or use the same thing at the same time, or they may not be enough of some, or there may not be enough of something that everybody wants to go around. Living with others means you can't always have what you need or want, when, where, or exactly how you would like it. It means that sometimes your feeling of peace will be interrupted in a small way or in a big way. Some people have tried living all by themselves so that their peace would be complete, but often it doesn't work. They feel lonely, and loneliness is not a peaceful feeling. So what can be done when people's needs or wants don't seem to fit together? There can be arguments, angry words, silences, or even fighting. It can go on for a long time or a short time until one side wins and the other side loses, or until one gets what they want or need and the other gives up. When this happens, peace is interrupted. But something completely different can happen. There can be another kind of argument, one where both sides explain what they need or want and why, where they listen to one another, where they work together to solve the problem so that both sides can have what they need or want, or at least some of it. Sometimes other people outside of the problem can help this happen. They can say if someone is being unfair or breaking the rules of the argument, they can suggest ways of solving the problem so that peace is not interrupted. And sometimes, between two different paths that can be brought together, a third way can be found. One that is different from what was needed or wanted, but that is good for both sides. The third way may even be a better way for everybody. Conflict can be the beginning of something new, something good. But what happens when no third way can be found? When people have talked, listened, thought, and still their needs or wants just can't be fit together? There are still choices that can be made. The two sides could agree to move apart so that neither gets what they want, what they first wanted, or they could make a deal involving other things that they both need or want. There are always choices that can be made. Some choices threaten peace, some choices protect it. Every day people make choices about peace at home, at school, or at work. Their choices affect others as well as themselves. The same kinds of choices are made when there are problems between one country and another. Some choices lead in the end to war, but through people talking, listening, and working things out together, peace can be protected. It is not always easy. It takes two to work together, but it also takes two to fight, and it often only takes one to begin the first step toward a peaceful solution. Working for peace may be harder than using force. You may have to be braver and stronger. You may have to learn new skills and new ways of thinking and planning. But you consider how much pain is caused by breaking of peace in families, neighborhoods, and countries all over the world and all throughout time. It has to be worth it. Peace has to be a better way. And now if the children that are present can come up and get our chalice, you guys can sing us to class.
Have a great time. See you at the potluck. We, as a community, are intentional about our identity as a people whose mission calls us to service and justice, spiritual growth, education, and fellowship. One way that we live out that mission is to share half of our offerings, those that are not dedicated to your annual pledges, with an organization that aligns with our ethic and our values. For the month of March, we are aligned with Women's History Month by sharing our plate with the International Convocation of UU Women, the ICUUW. Julie Steinbach is a member of this organization, but she's not here with us this week to tell us about it because she is with many of its members in New York City. They are at the UNCSW. It stands for, I know all these acronyms, apologies. You know what? UN, United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. So Julie's in New York attending that and a couple other good Broadway shows, so good for her. But we can all be grateful for this community of love and connection, for it is truly amazing how each one of us lives out our commitment to support our congregation's well-being and to see healthy growth in our lives. It is with deep gratitude for all that you bring, the many gifts that we all share, But we bring forward our offerings now, or we submit them on PayPal as we hop online from our seats. But our offerings will now be joyfully given and gratefully received. So beautiful. Sorry, we didn't hand out tissues. I should have stuck one in your order of service. Danny boy gets me every time. Thank you. Thanks, Maggie and Lily. Thank you. I have another treat for you. Just back from the Emerald Isle, we have Megan Gallagher and Bob Taylor to share a little bit of what that experience was like for them. Come on up. Maybe this will help you. You can, my stand, is that okay? Yeah, that's fine.
Good morning. I'm Megan Gallagher. This is my husband, Bob Taylor. We visited Ireland in February with my son and daughter-in-law, which was a lovely treat. And this is just a little story of what we saw. Ireland is a deeply pacifist country. Centuries of invasion, occupation, and oppression has led to the country to be neutral in wars and to actively oppose colonization in the world. And we saw that a lot while we were in Dublin. It's also a deeply religious land with the ancient pagan traditions integrated with Catholicism early in the spread of Christianity. And we saw that a lot when we were on the West Coast. The Wild Atlantic Way, which is, we were in Dingle, way down there in the southwest corner, includes ancient ruins, monastic centers, and stone huts used by Celts, early monastic Christians, and later by farmers. One of the huts that we went into, he used it to smoke his fish. So that's also where my daughter-in-law and I got to feed baby lambs, which, you know, sucker for that. Irish history is forever linked with the United States due to immigration, especially during the period of famine known as the Great Hunger in the middle 1800s. We took a tour, a private tour, and this is in the town of Dingle, a little outside the town of Dingle. Our local guide, Mossy Scanlon, grew up there in the Dingle Peninsula, and his tour was filled with history, poems, and reflections. This is a workhouse built during the Great Hunger as a place of last resort for starving Irish tenants who, in return for shelter and some food, agreed to indentured servitude benefiting English landlords. There, the indentured were separated by gender and from their children. Many never saw their families again. If one could, one left Ireland for other places in the world. 1 million Irish died, and another 1 million emigrated during the Great Hunger. So we traversed up outside of, a little outside of Dingle, and up a local trail to a mass graveyard used by the workhouse. And it was unmarked until about 10 years ago when Mossy and a group of the community cleared it and put in the trail so people could get there and a plaque to honor the folks. So the graveyard, and we can go to the next slide, the dead were transported up the hill from the workhouse to unmarked mass graves. The coffin had a hinged bottom, and so as it was hovered open an open pit, the bottom was released, letting the body fall. And then the coffin was reused. And then the graves were unmarked except for some local stone. And the grave area is maintained by the local community to honor those who died there. And Mossy reminded me personally and emphatically that I am here only due to an ancestor who had the fortitude and health and luck to travel to the United States across the Atlantic rather than to die in a workhouse or through starvation. Now, from there, and so these are the little stones, from there we traveled to what's called Slayhead Loop. And it's the Dingle Peninsula is one of great beauty, wild seas in ancient history. And sheep, lots of sheep, lots of sheep. We can go to the next one. And this is one of the beehive huts. They're actually quite warm and dry inside. And they had passageways underneath the ground to the next one, which was really interesting. Evidently, the early Celts used those when they were being attacked. This is an inlet to the Atlantic. It was wild. You can't quite tell from the photograph, but it was wild down there. And this is the inlet where an early Christian monk, Saint Brendan the Navigator, set sail with a small group of monks and, according to legend, made it to the Americas long before Columbus. We traveled up to the top of the cliff to St. Brandon's Creek. This is the little headwater of the creek that flew into that inlet. And Mossy, our guide, recited this poem for us, first in Gaelic and then in English. Its origins are debated, and evidently was originally Hittite, but it's used all over Ireland today. So, Bob?
Excuse me. Slow me down, Lord. Ease the pounding of my heart by the quieting of my mind. Steady my hurried pace, with a vision of the eternal reach of time. Give me, amidst the confusion of my day, the calmness of the everlasting hills. Break the tensions of my nerves with the soothing music of the singing streams that live in my memory. Help me to know the magical, restoring power of sleep. Teach me the art of taking minute vacations, of slowing down to look at a flower, to chat with an old friend or make a new one, to pat a stray dog, to watch a spider build a web, to smile at a child, or to read a few lines from a good book. Remind me each day that the race is not always to the swift, that there is more to life than increasing its speed. Let me look upward into the branches of the towering oak and know that it grew great and strong because it grew slowly and well. Slow me down, Lord, and inspire me to send my roots deep into the soil of life's enduring values, that I may grow toward the stars of my greater destiny. Thank you.
So beautiful. Thank you for letting us come along with you a bit. That was so beautiful. Maybe we can share that with the community in our next email we send out. Beautiful. Beautiful. We love sharing our stories of our lives, don't we? One of the ways we do that is to fill out one of these, Joys and Concerns, when you come here. And also we invite those who are with us online to put something in the chat that you'd like to share to let the congregation know. There also seems to be an overabundance of things that we quietly carry in our hearts. So as we celebrate and offer our sighs with the people that have talked to us, let's also remember the things that all of us are carrying, some more than others. Okay? Thanks. So I invite you now to get a little comfortable in your chair, maybe shift a little bit, move your feet. Join me in a time of meditation and prayer. It is one that I wrote after reading the poetry of John Riddell. I follow him on Facebook and communicate with him now and again. And he'll put up daily poetry that just flows through him. That's just incredible. So this one was very moving to me, and I've co-wrote it. Yeah, I stole some of his words and added mine. That's what we'll call it. But let's sit comfortably in our seats, feet on the floor, hands on our laps. If your eyes decide they want to float closed, that could be good. But connect to the earth through the bottoms of your feet and your tailbone. Connect to the sky through the top of our heads. And may we breathe in as one. And welcome all that we are holding. And in that space between our inhaling and our letting go, we pause and we send out a prayer of hope for all the world. For what we give to our world is who we are. The miracles that you help to make you, you. You are a miracle maker, a beautiful, unique soul, an intricate part of the mandala that is a community in this world. We wonder if our souls might be the best part of us, like our perfectly worn and most comfortable jeans. But our souls don't have pockets for storing up those things that we hope to take with us into the days ahead. Everything we might be gathering will one day slip through our translucent hands. We keep our heart curious as we consider that nobody will remember us for our stash of gifts or for all of those unspent pieces of our hearts. But you can know for certain that they will remember how recklessly we gave of ourselves with wild abandon, and how safe and full we made our lives with the relationships that we've built, held together by the vibrant, messy, smelly help and love that we offered. We are here to be givers. We are each filled with wild gifts and all the wonders of the universe. So, beloved ones, let's not waste any more time before we learn that we are not a compilation of consuming or whatever we take from this world. We are named, defined by, remembered as, living as whatever we give back from all that we've gathered. Our gentle song for today is one that we have sung a few times. It may be really familiar to some of you. Otherwise, we have Jairus, we might have a slide of the music, but maybe it'll be familiar enough for folks to just sing along. No, it's okay. We love you anyway. A reading today comes from Barbara Brown Taylor. For those of you who have done any kind of theological studying, you've probably read some of her stuff. She's pretty great. This comes from her book called The Seeds of Heaven. It's called The Problem with Miracles. The problem with miracles is that we tend to get mesmerized by them, focusing on God's responsibility and forgetting our own. Waiting for a miracle lets us off the hook, sitting in a crowd, waiting for God to act. We can hang on to our own little loaves of bread, but no. Stop waiting for a miracle and participate in one instead. Bring what you have. That's where to begin. Be the first in the crowd to turn your pockets inside out. Be the first on your block to start a miracle. Because no one knows how it really happened when Jesus fed those 5,000, and your guess is as good as mine. But what Jesus said to his followers then, he goes on saying to us today, they do not need to go find their own food. You feed them. So stop waiting for a miracle and participate in one instead. Be the first on your block to start a miracle. Beautiful. Thank you. What a wonderful energy we have with us today. To have St. Patrick's Day on a Sunday during leap year has its own special kind of magic. With a pot of gold pledge drive and a sushi potluck on top of it all. Even our Japanese cuisine, and my Japanese husband too is Irish today. Today we celebrate our Irish heritage more than we do Patrick's, who died on this day around 460 AD, according to history.com. But truth be told, Patrick was born in Britain at the time that England was part of the Roman Empire, and his people are still remembered as kind of an enemy to the Irish. Well, not kind of, yes, very much an enemy to the Irish. So perhaps there's something to unfold in the fact that St. Patrick's Day marks the day of his death rather than his birth, or maybe his canonization as a saint, which actually is yet to happen. He's not a saint. But the festival is celebrated in Ireland mainly to please the tourists, not the indigenous Celts. I remember my gram, who was born in County Wexford. She came to the US to become a nun, actually, and ended up dying with over 100 descendants. So the church was not her call, and thankfully, thankfully, you know, I'm here because of the awakening. Yeah, she's pretty great. When she died, it was right after 9/11 in September of 2001. And she was in the hospital for a while, and a friend of the family, every Irish family has a priest. So we called our friend, the priest, and he came to bless her and give her the last rites. And one of her last wishes to him, she goes, "Can I still hate the English?" And of course, he gave her as much permission as she needed. So. And curiously, the name Patrick is Greco-Roman in origin, and it shares its roots with the word patriarchy. So boo to Patrick and the patriarchy. There, how did I do? Kept tripping over that word in my reading of it. And yay to all that is Irish today. The population of Ireland is nearly 6 million. But it's estimated that up to 80 million people around the world have Irish ancestors, making the Irish diaspora one of the largest of any nation in history. All of those who moved abroad in those devastating days that Megan talked to us about, the United States became home for the most people of Irish descent, the lucky, the fortunate. And many of our ancestors who were immigrants, yes, we are the children of immigrants from Ireland, they began to celebrate Patrick and his role in recruiting Catholics on the anniversary of his death. But this day we mark today has become a wee bit exaggerated since then. But as we well know, spinning tales to enhance the remembering of our history has always been a part of the Irish way of life. There were a small number of Christians on the island when Patrick arrived, but most of the Irish practiced nature-based pagan religion. Patrick chose to incorporate these traditional Celtic rituals into his lessons of Christianity instead of attempting to eradicate the native Irish beliefs. Though some might justly call that practice appropriation, we who hold tighter to our pagan roots than we do to the Catholicism that was grafted from them. We have a deep inner knowing and a wee bit of recognition for the ways that we see our pagan culture in theirs. Irish culture remains a rich tradition of myth, oral legend, blessings, and miracles. And there are endless numbers of Irish blessings that are available for all of us to receive, and I'll share a few with you this morning. May your home always be too small to hold all of your friends. May your blessings outnumber the shamrocks that grow, and may trouble avoid you wherever you go. May the mist of Irish magic that we saw in the pictures shorten every road. And may all of your friends remember all those favors that you're owed. And one more that is a favorite of many. May those who love us, love us. And for those that don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if God doesn't turn their hearts, may God turn their ankles so we will know them by their limping. There is a bone deep connection to the celebrations that we bring today. And that comes from our planning and preparing not only these words and the music and the stories, but our outfits and our greenery and the foods that we've each prepared for sharing after our worship today. All of that conscious preparation is a good definition of the tending that we undertake with love as we tend to the miracles that we experience here at MVUUC. The pledge drive is attending to the sustainability of our community for the year ahead. Your support, your pledge is a miracle. The budget being prepared from those pledges is attending to the financial support of the daily life of this spiritual home. Our congregation is a miracle. And the ways that we each live out our UU faith in all of our relationships with one another is attending to our spiritual lives. Your spiritual growth and your service in this world is a miracle. If tending to miracles is our best way of creating them in our lives, especially in these days when they are so greatly needed, then I invite each and every one of us to join together in a bit of miracle tending. And let's not be afraid of using that word freely because it fits us really. The Oxford Dictionary defines a miracle as an amazing product or achievement or an outstanding example of something. A miracle is a highly improbable or extraordinary event, development, or accomplishment that brings very welcome consequences. Sounds to me like the everyday life of any congregant at MVUUC. So I'm proposing we take back that word from those who drain it of its power. Let's wrestle it back from those who limit our capacity to create miracles and tend to them with their insistence that as pagans, atheists, humanists, pantheists, and liberal Christians and nuns and SBNRs, all of us, that we are incapable of miracles because there's some creed or theology or belief lacking in our capacity to bring the change that is needed most in our world right now. But oh no, let's make no mistake. There is a great work of divine agency that's required. But not only do you have it at your disposal, but you are overflowing with it, and you use it all of the time. It's the spirit of life that lives and breathes and works in you and is there with you and flows through you. It is your ethic. It is your principle. It is your values, and it's who you are. So join me as we set our wise hearts and minds to work together, to perceive that we are, each and every one, amidst a very great need for miracles right now. Maybe like never before. Everything that's been tried isn't working. And we, each and every one of us, knows that Unitarian Universalists have an overabundance of exactly what is needed to bring miracles to life. Our faith can bring a great sea change that Irish poet Seamus Heaney asks all of us to hope for. We can believe that a further shore is reachable from here, and we can believe in miracles. So let's be known as the people that tend to miracles. Thank you. Let's stand and sing together. Touch the earth, reach the sky. I know we're all hungry and we're going over, but let's sing verse 1, 4, and 5, please. Thank you. Sounds great. And Carissa, if you would come and extinguish the chalice, let's read together our benediction. As we close our time together and extinguish our chalice, may we take its light with us into the world and remember to be kind, be brave, be just, be merciful, and be hopeful. For when we do, we tend to miracles wherever we go. Lily?